The entire time when the video is going, there's chat. Zoom's got chat on the bottom, and so like if you look at the little bottom bar on Zoom, there's a chat button. So if you've got questions as it's rolling along, there's a couple of us in here that can potentially answer them. So feel free to fire away. Get the video going, April, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes for the Q&A. This is the homepage I'm talking about that we just like recently redid, and I think it does a really good job articulating sort of who we are, what we do at a very high level. And if you scroll down the page, there's a bunch of videos and me explaining a whole bunch of things, everything that we do from top to bottom. But our tagline, which states everything that you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, really does sum up what we do. You know, we get pigeonholed as they're a website company. They're a website company. And yes, we do offer websites, but it is a tiny, tiny portion of what we do. Ultimately, we learned a couple of years ago, the hard way, by the way, if we are going to grow and be successful as a business, art storefronts, that is 100% dependent, surprise this one, but on how successful our customers are, on how much art and photography our customers are selling on a yearly basis. And so when you look at that as the problem that we're solving, it becomes so much more than a website, because a website is not enough. But still, we're going to talk about the website. I'm going to get into the other layers as we go down. So it does indeed all start with the website. I will pull one up because it'll make it more interactive. And, you know, anyone that's been attempting to sell art or photography for any period of time, I'll use Bono today, they know one thing conclusively: selling art in an e-commerce capacity digitally online is not like selling other items. It's not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or electric scooters or bicycles or anything else, right? Buying art, okay, and buying art online is A, an extremely visual process, and B, an extremely friction-filled process. And what do I mean by friction? I mean, friction is all of the various different things, okay, that will prevent a visitor to your website from turning into a buyer, okay? And so really everything that we do with our software is attempt to solve for this friction, okay? To solve for the friction, to solve for how important the visual aspects are towards selling art and photography online. And you know, it's never any one feature. It's all of the features working together. It can be little things like when you select a media type, which is canvas, it changes to a canvas, a gallery wrapped canvas. Most people don't even know what a canvas is. And so we've developed special videos that show the differences, the nuances in the real world, what an actual canvas print looks like, what's going to show up at their house, what are the high points of this one, is canvas different than metal. Oops, I missed a click on that. And so you can see what a metal print looks like and how it's sitting flat, eventually how it's hanging up, all the nuances, the intricacies, because it is such a visual process buying art. We have a feature called the wall preview, which allows you to cycle through various different room types. Again, such a visual process buying art. Not only can you circle through the different room types, and yes, you can add your own room type images in. We use some generic ones by design, and you can size pieces up and down, see what it's going to look like. Do I need a 36 by 49? Is that too big? Do I instead want a 28 by 38? We're making it easier for your potential customer to get to a buying decision. What if they want to, their walls aren't white, right? What if they're this ugly color? Or there's something a little bit darker. Is the piece going to look good with this color, right? Because again, buying art is just such an incredibly visual process. You know, another feature that everybody likes to talk about that we get a lot of plaudits for is we have this feature, excuse me, mute that, called live preview with AR, okay? And what this is this allows somebody to come to your website with their telephone, can be iPhone or Android. You can see the phones here on the right-hand side. And without downloading any apps, they can just use their phone, their camera, and press one button on your website that says live preview. And what this is going to do, it's going to take the camera on their phone, okay, which is going to show the real room, the real wall, where the art will potentially go. And then it takes your piece in augmented reality and it projects it onto the wall. And you're able to move it around with your finger. You're able to size it up, size it down, take screenshots. And so is it going to look great in the room? What size do I need to get, right? And so, again, this is attempting to solve for the visual friction of, I don't know if it's going to work in my room. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It's just getting them one step closer to a buying decision, removing the friction from the process. And, you know, I've been doing e-commerce marketing, digital marketing my entire life. Everyone loves to gravitate towards the wall preview or the live preview with AR. But the reality is when you do this for any period of time, it's not about one individual feature. It's about all the features working in conjunction, and you never know which one's going to end up. If we think of a sports analogy like a basketball team, it's how many players you have on the court that can contribute, right, to eventually scoring that basket. And so it's why we do the demo process. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of features, all to remove the friction, all to help you get better at selling art and photography online. And when you request one of these things, our outreach team will reach out, have a conversation with you, and schedule it. It goes like an hour and 10 minutes, and we just go through feature after feature after feature. So it's not about any one of them. It's about all of them working in conjunction. Independent of that, let's keep working down the page. So we also have a ton of back-end software. It turns out running an art business, art photography business, there's a ton of individual little nuance and things that can slow you down, okay? Things like uploading an image and how many images do you have to upload to your webpage for all the various different media sizes and types you have. It's very helpful to be able to just upload one, have all the sizes auto-populate for you, and tell you exactly what you can sell. Things like markups. How do you set markups? Can you do it globally? Can you do it per media type, right? And so no one likes to talk about the back end features, but we have a slew of those as well, all there to make your life easier, to give you time back, okay? Let's talk about our fulfillment. And we love talking about this. This is in our company DNA pretty significantly, but I'll pull up a website. So we're on Bill Stidham's site. Or I should probably start here, actually. So we are integrated. Well, let me start here. You can have it any which way you like. If you're an artist that just does originals and you get orders, obviously you're going to be responsible for fulfilling the originals because you have them. If you're an artist that has a local printer or a photographer that has a local printer, you really like using your printer, you can use your printer. The orders come in, you send the order to your printer. We call that self-fulfillment, no problem. What we recommend our customers do, though, is integrate with one of our print partners, and I'll get into the reasons why. But we've got Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. We've got Bay Photo on the West Coast. We've got Print Partner for our customers in Canada. And then we just recently integrated with a company called Guten that handles the merchandise, and I'll get into that in a second. How does it work? You sign up, you get your site set up, which usually takes 14 days or less. You click a button that says, I want to integrate with this print partner. An order comes into the website. The printer gets paid. You get paid. The order gets printed. The order gets boxed. Your logo goes on the side of the box. Boom, it ships to the customer. You touch absolutely nothing. There's nothing you have to touch, nothing you have to do. All happens automatically. And again, it's to give you back that amount of time. And, no one has time in today's day and age to be dealing with the admin, okay? Any time that you spend on the admin, by which I mean sending the order to your local printer, checking on the proof, sending tracking numbers, did it ship, any of that correspondence, all of that, if you're spending your time on that, is time you are not spending on your biggest problem, which is your marketing. So we really believe like streamlining sort of this drop shipping, print on demand, automated fulfillment is a very, very wise decision if you want to create successful artists and photographers. Now, just recently, this was probably like a month before Christmas maybe, we integrated with a company called Guten. And what it allows our customers to do is sell merchandise of a myriad of different kinds. Hoodies, iPhone cases, tank tops. They can come in, adjust the image exactly how they want to see it. Maybe they want to tilt it depending on what case it is, and get iPhone cases and a number of different other items. We've got throw pillows and I clicked out of it, and coffee mugs, and we're adding more and more and more and more of these. And on the subject of merch, we realize, again, if you go back to our original mission, why we exist, we need to create a set of circumstances, a set of conditions such that the artist, the photographer can make and grow as successful a business as they want. And so some artists look at this merch and they're like, they turn their noses up at it and like, that's not fine art. Why would I ever want to do that? Some are like, I'm all in, I love it. We don't care. Our job is to provide as many different opportunities for artists and photographers to be successful as possible. And we've been totally blown away by how much of this stuff actually, believe it or not, sells. And some of it is higher margin than you would think. Like a throw pillow is $44, and what does a tote bag cost? I think a tote bag costs $38. So sell it or not, you have every opportunity imaginable available to you. If you want to have it all, in kind of like Bill does here on his site, where you have your fine art media types across the top, and then you have the merch all in one product page. Great. If you want to have individual items in the store, you want to have your artwork, fine, and then you just want to have a line of phone cases. If you want to have one for a couple of weeks and then turn it off, you can do any and all of that, and it's one click to turn it on at any point in time. It's automated. It's completely automated in terms of fulfillment, and that's not going to change. And we realize, again, like, artists and photographers are essentially just creators, right? You're just creators, and you have a talent. You have a talent with a brush, or you have a talent with the lens. You want to monetize that talent, okay? So again, our job is to give you as many different opportunities to be able to monetize that talent as possible. So that's how we go about it. And again, it's a debate about when to use it or when not. But somebody on one of these sessions earlier was like, who's the greatest rock band of all time? I was like, no, who? He's like, the Rolling Stones. He goes, guess what the Rolling Stones have at their concerts? I said, what? A giant booth for merch. He's like, they sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of it a year. If the Stones sell it, I'll sell it. So anyway, I thought that kind of stuck with me. It was fun. So that's our print fulfillment. And I should say too that we're adding calendars, and we're adding puzzles, and we are adding photo books. And to be honest with you, if they come out with a line of hot air balloons, we'll add hot air balloons too, right? Because again, it's creating a set of circumstances such that the artist and photographer can be successful. We don't care where the success comes from. I don't care if Brian gets into business and he's the #1 iPhone selling case guy of the entire United States. He's got a successful business, right? So not for us to decide. Support. We believe we have best-in-class support. If you took a look at our Facebook ads and you scrolled through the 350 of them, you'll see more positive responses for the support than just about anything else. We're very, very good at this. Yes, it's in all the venues you think it is: email, phone, chat support. But in addition to that, kind of what I'm most proud about is we run 6 days a week, including Saturdays, Zoom sessions, just like the one you're on right now, okay? And you can pop into one at any point in time with any support-related issue and get fixed, get unstuck. There's screen shares. They can take over control of your computer and just get you sorted instantaneously. So we're very, very good at it. Not only do we support our application, we ask you guys, we teach you guys marketing all year long, which I'll get into in a second. What if you're having a problem with Facebook or with Instagram or with MailChimp or with your Facebook ads? We actually support that too. You can pop into a Zoom session and say, hey, Patrick, I'm stuck on my Facebook ads. I'm getting this message. Can you help me? And our team will get you unstuck. That's an amazing thing. There's not many companies that do that, so I'm very, very proud about that. That's in terms of the overall website picture. And we essentially do all of that, okay, to give you your time back such that you can work on the biggest problem that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has, which is their marketing problem. You need to get better at it. And let me tell you, I've got 4,700 customers, and there's only one universal truth about every one of them, right? Every niche imaginable, every subject matter, all over this country and others, every one of them has a marketing problem. The person that just passed $500,000 a year in sales has a marketing problem. They want to grow that business, they have a marketing problem. The person that just is getting started, sold their first piece, they have a marketing problem, and everybody in between, right? It is the biggest problem. And so, we want to create successful customers. We realize we need to teach artists and photographers how to market. And so how did we solve for that particular problem? We created collectively what might as well be called the Art Business University. That's how we look at it, because I'm not sure there's a better term to explain it. One, we have the best digital education that exists in terms of selling art and photography online, full stop. I'm hang my hat on this. We have detailed documentation that we call playbooks on every marketing facet imaginable. How to run an email campaign, how to run a Black Friday sale, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time with your laptop on a cell phone. Detailed, step-by-step, audio, video, screenshot documentation. If we're asking you to send emails, we will give you the email copy. You just adjust it to taste for what you're doing. So the playbooks are incredible. They're very robust, and they're very focused on teaching you how to market. We pair that with a 365-day-a-year marketing calendar, okay? It has on it beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You take on what you can take on. You're never not knowing what you need to be doing on a week-in, week-out basis. You start doing, first, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I've never done this. This is crazy. How am I going to survive? And then you fight through it, and you got through the beginner level, and then you take on the intermediate, and then you take on the advanced. The majority of our customers follow this doggone near verbatim year in, year out, because it works. It's effective. Not only does it tell you what to do, but it solves for one of the greatest The other greatest pandemic of our lifetime, the shiny object syndrome, okay? Not only does the calendar tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do, okay? What not to be spending your time on, right? And how do I know this? One, I'm very good at digital marketing. Two, we have 4,700 customers and I get to see all of their data. I can tell everyone on this call conclusively, out of the 4,700 customers that I have not seen anyone turn a positive ROI out of marketing on Pinterest. No one is making any money from marketing on Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you, you don't have to worry about Pinterest. I see you laughing, Mary. I do not want you spending any time on Pinterest, period. Waste of time. So too with SEO, okay? So the calendar is equally powerful on what you need to focus on is what you ignore, okay? It's what you ignore, and that's a big deal. Number 3 of the Art Business University is what we call office hours, okay? We take the entire customer base, we split it into 3. Until you sell $2,000 directly on your website, you're in the traction group. And after you sold $2,000 on your website, you're in the ramping group. After you've sold a much higher revenue threshold that we don't publish, you get in the advanced group, which we call growth. We hold week in, week out, every single solitary week. And we took 1 week off for New Year's, but essentially 48, 49 weeks a year. Zoom calls like this. You come on a weekly basis. It's either me or members of my team. We go over the playbooks. We go over the calendars. We talk about wins. Somebody landed an interior decorator and sold $35,000 worth. They're going to come on and tell their story. Not only are they going to come on and tell their story, they're going to say, here's the email that did it. Here's the copy. Here's the Facebook post. And you can go and look at that stuff, right? And you're learning in concert with your peers. Digital online education is not enough, okay? If you look at the stats out there, I don't care who it is, Kajabi or Masterclass or lynda.com, 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. So we can't just have digital education. We have to have in-person teaching sessions, and everyone knows how to Zoom now. It's our new reality. So those sessions, which we started like, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the pandemic, have been the single solitary biggest fundamental change to our business we've ever had. If before the pandemic, I had 100 customers, and I told those 100 customers via email, guys, Black Friday's coming. You got to get going on your sale. Here's the playbook, right? And then I recorded a podcast episode, and I was like, we're going to do this. 35 out of the 100 would take action. After these video sessions where I'm able to go through things, people are able to ask their questions, raise their hands, get unstuck, learn your peers, I have 75 people taking action on that sale, and it's fundamentally changing the business. It is making our customers more successful, more accountable, actually staying focused. Like, look, you guys are all solopreneurs for the most part. I mean, we could pull this entire group, and not a lot of you guys have a big team. You don't have an office behind you where you're yelling at an intern to help you out. You are a solopreneur, okay? You know, myself, the CEO, we've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I know it's a roller coaster. I know there's highs and the lows. When you're on those lows, you need to kick in the pants, right? You need to be lifted up sometimes, and that's what these Zoom sessions do too, which is incredible. We follow it up with a Facebook group that is highly curated, okay? There's no trolls. There's no nonsense in there, right? You've seen some of the other groups out there online and how ridiculous it gets in those things. And artists are sharing with other artists. Photographers are sharing with other photographers. The people that are in the landscape niche are talking to others in the landscape niche. Hey guys, what do you think of this new direction? What did you use in terms of pricing? They're publishing their wins. And so sometimes you can't just hear it from us, the official company mouthpiece. And so it's nice to have a whole bunch of people that are doing this same journey at the same time, helping each other out, sharing, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? So that collectively is the Art Business University. And it's like a college. It really is. And the difference is you pay your tuition, you come in, and there's no graduates because the learning never stops, right? And, you know, in addition to that, it never will stop. In today's digital marketing landscape, the goalposts are just constantly moving, right? Like so quickly, you feel like you just learned something and it moves over here. So we keep you up to date with all of that. As a final, about 6 months ago, or maybe 5 months ago now, we started an in-house marketing agency. And it's an in-house marketing agency that only does one thing. It helps artists and photographers sell more art online and off. And we believe already, as of today's date, it's the biggest sole-focused art and photography marketing agency in the world. And that's not hyperbole. I've been asking on these calls, can someone name me an agency that specializes only in helping artists and photographers sell their work? I haven't found one. No one's ever put one in the chat for me, especially not a big one. Why? Because my aforementioned point, selling art and photography is not like selling swim thins or ladies' handbags or scooters. It's hard, right? It's really hard. And we're good at it because we've been working at it for a long time. Also, you know, I get upset, right? Because I look at all of you guys as like you own a McDonald's, right? And if you owned a McDonald's, you have to know how to do the ordering. You have to know how to clean the floors. You have to know how to open the building. You have to know how to operate the drive-through window. You have to be able to flip burgers and fries and do all of that and do the ordering, right? Like, it's your business. You need to understand those things. But at the same time, I'm not naive in the sense that 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs, or in some capacity. Maybe they're service-based photographers and they're trying to sell their fine art. So I get it. You need to be able to have the ability. If you don't have the time to do the marketing and you have the resources, you need a la carte things that you can jump off the shelf. Hey guys, I need my Instagram profile tuned up. I need my Facebook page tuned up. I need to help with a sales campaign. You need to be able to do that sometimes. In addition to things like, we'll completely build your website for you. You don't want to do that. You hate building websites. Your fears in life, in order, are death, taxes, and building another website. I get that. Right? So you can drop your images in a folder, tell us to build the site, we'll build the site for you, okay? We'll manage your Facebook ads, okay? We will manage all of your social posting. And again, it goes back to the top premise. Like, our job is to create successful customers. And so we looked at it 6 months ago, and it's like, we need to have an agency. And then some people are like, well, I want to do it myself. Fantastic. Our job is to have the best DIY product, do it yourself, learn, come on the sessions, and then also have an agency where you can pay. And again, it's a la carte, or it's, up to almost full service. And the amazing thing about it is, I've been doing marketing a long time, right? What do all marketers love? A case study. Oh, we love a case study, right? With the sexy data about this huge win, and we publish it on social media and we use it for lead generation. So totally did that all the time. Okay. Guilty, and if you lose, you don't publish it, right? You wait till you hit a winner and do all that. But it used to be, I would go and run a case study with a customer, and I'd have limited bandwidth to do that, and then we would build the playbooks. Well, guess what I have now? I've got agency staff. I've got one guy that all he does all day long is spruce up Instagram pages for artists and photographers. He did 65 of them last week, or probably 65 last month. So imagine the learnings that we're getting. What happens is the learnings are going right back into the playbooks, and then they're coming onto the Zoom sessions and they're teaching, and we've got a little flywheel going on, right? We've got a little artist and photographer education flywheel. So it doesn't matter if you ever order a single solitary service from the agency, and we don't even care if the agency ever makes any money, in all honesty, because all it does is just improves the product, makes more successful customers, and helps us grow. So we really, at the end of the day, are fundamentally a business that can be thought of as a rowboat, right? It takes our oar, your oar, we jump in the boat in the same time, and if we can get that thing rowing in the same direction, the faster we can get that going, the better everybody does. So that's Art Storefronts in a nutshell. That's my presentation. From rowboats to nutshells. All right. So that's sort of who we are, what we do at a high level, what's changed since then. We're really kind of on this path trajectory. We want to be the Netflix of art and photography marketing. We want to be the graduate school that teaches you how to build a sustainable art business. It teaches you how best to monetize your business. It talks about the nuts and bolts and business aspects. It teaches you how to do accounting for art and photography businesses. It teaches you how to license images and how to sell commercially. All of those various different things. And that's kind of what we're working towards. And I think, the Netflix of all of the above sort of describes it. We're sort of formally branding all of our marketing and education product as the Art Business University. It's the easiest way to think about it as a university. And, if there's a university, you have a bunch of professors that are really qualified to teach their domain expertise. And that's what we're moving to. So what started out is, a bunch of, myself, a bunch of other members in the marketing team teaching classes about what we're good at, Facebook ads and how to run sales and marketing campaigns and email marketing campaigns and the like, has since expanded out to, we're now sort of partnering with some of our customers. And, we're up to, I said earlier, we're up to, I think, over 5,000 customers now. And some of them are really, really good at various different aspects of this business. And so we have them teaching now as well. We have one gal that's sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of art based on licensing images from colleges. So she's come on and teach a class on how to license images. We've got one guy that is the expert. It's selling his photography into commercial jobs, banks. He's in all kinds of different banks all across the United States, and he's a master at it. So he teaches that class. We have a gal that does accounting. She just does accounting for creatives. And so she teaches classes on how to handle all the various different accounting aspects. And so we're building more and more and more and more of that into our operation. And it's been exciting because it's such there's a lot of moving pieces to this particular type of a business, and it's not like other businesses. Like selling art, selling photography is a different type of a sale than selling anything else online, and it takes a while to figure that out. It takes a while to figure out the nuances, the tradecraft, all the rest of it. So yeah, really been really excited about that, and I think you know at least for the rest of this year and probably well into next year, you know, we believe that the offline in-person retail sources will come back. Yes, the galleries, yes, the fairs and shows, co-ops, whatever else you like, but it's going to take a while, right? Like people are going to be gun shy for a little while in this COVID situation. So we think it underscores how important uh, uh, getting a hold of being able to digitally market yourself and reach out and cultivate buyers and collectors directly and what that looks like. And we are also still remain extremely bullish on wall art and its general sales. The pandemic hit, everyone just stopped working, stayed at home, everyone got sick and tired of their white walls, and everything home decor exploded all at once. Art and photography sales went along for that ride. We're still sort of in that zone, and it's at a much higher clip than it should be. So technically, art and photography as a result of it being in home decor has been a winner. It's been a winner out of this pandemic, which is one of the blessings, one of the good things to see in this whole bad situation. So, all right, that's what I got. It's Friday. I'm excited. Love to get into your questions. If you've got your camera on and you want to do the old school, actually raise your hand. I'll see that and I'll know you've got one, and I can unmute you. Otherwise, at the bottom of the Zoom window is a participants button. The participants button allows you to digitally raise your hand, and it'll appear in a queue so I can see it. You can certainly use the chat if you want. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on. I hate being on video. I totally get it if you don't want to be on video. And I'll answer the questions in chat. And then we also stream this out to a couple of different social sites. And so if you're on the socials, I'm seeing those comments come in real time. If you've got a question there, I would love to answer that directly as well. We can just kind of go up and down the list. And I'll start in the chat. And so Mara's asking, when did you officially start out? I think the company's 7 years old now. It started out, so the founder started it. Many of you guys will know the previous company because you're in the reproduction business. But the founder started a company called Breathing Color. Breathing Color is like one of the largest manufacturers of fine art, canvas, art papers, metal for the printing industry. And so the company started out just selling software to print studios, right? Reproduction, small reproduction operations, small up to big reproduction operations. And we still have some of those guys as customers, but since then, the business has pivoted completely to, just catering to artists and photographers. But 7 years now, and I think we're up to usually people ask the employee question. I think we're up to 70 or 80, maybe even over 100 employees now. And the business was based in Austin. Technically still is based in Austin, but we've let the office go. I mean, ever since COVID hit, there's no one wanted to go into the office anymore, so that ended. But we've got a truly distributed team now, which is pretty cool. I think, on 6 or 7 different continents, we have employees, which is pretty amazing. 20 different countries, I think, or something like that, 20 or 18. So we're pretty well distributed and spread out, which is awesome. So I really like that. Okay. Angie's asking, and Angie, I'm going to unmute you because it seems like you've got a bunch of different questions. So if you want to unmute, you can hit the little mic icon in the bottom left-hand corner. But Angie's first question is, what do you think of the future of brick and mortar art galleries and or dealer agent represented artists? I think it's going to come back. I think it's going to come back without question. I think, Angie, a lot of them probably were on, they were okay businesses, right, before the pandemic hit. The pandemic hit, and maybe they survived the first one. If they did survive the first one, quite a few are going to be out of business as a result of the second one. So I think the ones that do make it through are going to have their pick of the litter in terms of artists, and so they're likely going to be a little bit more aggressive with the splits. Maybe they were at a 50-50 before, now they're going to kick it up to a 60-40, and if you've got hundreds of artists to pick from, you're probably going to be able to get away with that. But I also do think that once this thing we go back to normal, a gallery is a pretty easy thing to start up, right? White walls, some nice furniture in there, and start hanging stuff. So I think they'll come back, but I also think, we are a company that encourages artists to sell direct because we like the relationship, we like where the artist owns everything, but we are absolutely not anti-gallery in the slightest. I find the model a little exploitative in the sense of a 50-50 split, a 60-40 split, not keeping your customer data. And the not keeping your customer data is the biggest one. But at the same time, if you have a revenue source that's actually working, the last thing that we want you to do is get rid of it. So I think, you know, the internet and the great disruption and everything else, I think was coming for a long time to the art and photography markets. What do I mean by the great disruption? Uber taxi cab moment, the Netflix blockbuster movement moment, the you know, CD slash MP3 moment. So I think that's sort of come to the art world, and many artists are seen as just a lack of other available options. You can sell direct. You can sell direct both domestically and internationally from your website. You can keep all of that revenue. You can keep the customer data such that you can market to those people in perpetuity in the future. And with that in place, like, you know, it really sort of takes away some of the oomph from the galleries. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I think. Does that sort of answer the question, Angie? I know I'm going long winded.
Yeah, kind of. I'm wondering, like, would your websites work for like a group of artists, or is they more geared to an individual?
No, they're 100% geared to both. You can absolutely do either or, and you can pivot back to either or at any point in time. But you'll have to tell me what the nature of your idea is. My issue, because what I think, whether you're a group of artists or whether you're a co-op or whatever, you're going to own the URL. You're going to own all the links to the URL. The entity is going to own all the email addresses. And if there's, let's just say, 5 of you, okay, what happens when Angie is doing all the marketing and Angie is driving all the traffic to the website, and some of the other artists are not exactly pulling their share, and as a result of the traffic you're driving, they're getting sales. Are they keeping all of that income, or are you taking some sort of a fee for doing the marketing, or is everyone meant to be doing multiple amounts of marketing? I kind of look at it like, you know, if you're a husband and wife team, I love it, right? Because you guys are till death do you part and you can work it out. When it's 5, that to me is like having 5, 7, 10. That's like having 5 to 7, 10 wives. I'm barely surviving with mine, with some of the
How
fighting.
about 7 siblings who are all artists?
That could,
Is what I'm looking at.
yeah, it could work. I just think you need to over communicate such that no friction develops. Like, start talking about, like, what if Ted does nothing and he's selling the most work because all the rest of us are marketing our butts off and driving all this traffic at the website, right? So if you
Right.
over communicate those situations, that's great. But, you know, if something goes bad 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in, whoever owns the entity, like, that's where all the traffic is going, right? So you just, if you can over communicate, it can work. But, you know, it, like, who am I kidding? Every situation has its ups and downs, but that's what I would look at on that one.
Yeah, thanks.
My pleasure. Okay. Sometimes I forget where my muting is. All right. I'm going to go back into the chat. Do you offer help writing intros, descriptions, or a short bio for the website or social media? We have guidelines, yeah, on what you should do. You know, one of the things, Carolyn, too, that people often get hung up is on those bios and on, you know, that artist statement and everything else. I had a guy ask me last week. He's like, "How long do you think I should work on my artist statement?" And I was like, "Oh, wonderful question. 1 hour. 1 hour, and then we're turning the website on." He's like, "What do you mean 1 hour?" And this really freaked him out, right? Because what we do is we tend to think like, you're chiseling this thing out of stone, right? You're chiseling it out of stone. And once it's done, it's set for life. You're planting it in the ground like a statue. It's your website. You can change it at any point in time. You got to get that thing live and get the store open and have the ability to take credit card. And your artist statement might go through 65 different iterations. No one's going to see it early on anyway. So get the store live, get working on your marketing. Then you can go back and you can worry about those things. Um, yeah, Kate. So if you've not sold, and I'm going to unmute you, Kate, because I want to talk to you about this. You'll have to hit your mic in the bottom left hand corner. If you've never sold your art, okay, to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, friends, then that's something that you need to work on and solve first. So answer me that, Kate. Have you sold your work to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, or good friends?
No.
No. Okay. So that's where you have to start. That's where you have to start. And you have to determine if you have a product that the market wants. Okay. And I can't tell you. No one else can tell you. You can't show your work to everybody on this Zoom call and say, will this product make it? The only thing they can tell you is a check being put in your hand or cash being handed to you or a credit card sliding. And what some people tend to do is they will say, I'm ready to go. I should probably try to sell it here locally, face-to-face, person-to-person, but I'm just going to launch and start going on my marketing and see what happens. That's dangerous, right? Because you don't necessarily know you have a product the market wants. And the analogy that I give, and I think it's a good one, and it takes it out of the art world. You and I are both cooks, okay? And we both decided we really want a restaurant. And I go about it the dumb way. And do you know what I do? I start working on a business plan for 3 months, and I write it up, and then I go down to the bank. And then I go through that whole process and I get a loan. And then you know what I do? I start looking for venues. And then I go and sign a 3-year lease on a venue. And then I spend a bunch of money on a sign. And then I spend money on tablecloths, and I hire a maitre d', and I start writing the menus, and I set everything up on the table perfectly. And then I open the doors and people come in. And you know what I realize? Nobody wants to eat my food. They don't want to eat my food because my particular style is not something that's resonating in the town that I'm in, and my restaurant goes out of business. You're smart. You know what you did? Day one, I haven't even finished the first paragraph in my freaking business plan. You went down to Costco and you bought a rolling cart. You put all of Kate's tacos into the rolling cart, and you pushed it into an office building on the downtown floor, on the downstairs floor, and you put up a sign that said tacos lunch $125 a piece. Next thing you know, everyone in the office building starts smelling those things. They come down, they get in line, they buy them, and they're like, Kate, when are you coming back again? Well, guess what? You have a business, and you just found out in a weekend, and 9 months later, a year later, I'm going to learn the lesson the hard way, right? And it doesn't mean if your stuff doesn't sell right away that you're a crappy cook. It just might mean tacos are not what the market wants right now. They want burgers. So go to your other style, right? Go to that other style that you have, or this other direction that you've been trying. So pre-pandemic, this was really easy. I'd be like, Kate, wherever you live, find out where the local show is, find out where the local fair is. It can be a booth at the farmer's market. You can go guerrilla style and set up a table somewhere where you're not supposed to be. Put all your work on it and see what you can sell. If you can sell to strangers, then you can sell online, right? You have to determine you have a product the market wants. Now, in a post-pandemic world where sometimes some of these venues are a little bit harder to get to, we have some recommendations on how you can do that via going live with a cell phone on Facebook and Instagram. But there's a bit of a chicken and egg situation there, because if you're like, I have 3 friends on Facebook and 2 friends on Instagram, well, it's going to be hard to get an audience that way. I know it's kind of a long rant, but it makes sense.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to try it, because until you do, you just won't know. So take absolutely anything that gets in the way from you getting that work in front of people, and see what happens. Because you don't know until you know, right? You could sell out in 2 seconds. You could get a bunch of people that say, wow, I really like that, but maybe I'll hire you for a commission, right? Or you just don't know until you take the product to market.
So what do I do? Put it on Facebook or something like that?
Yeah. So what I do, let me ask you. So you have Facebook, you have Instagram, or do you just have personal Facebook? What do you have?
I have Facebook. I have an Instagram that I don't use much.
Okay. I'm going to show you exactly what we do. And you're going to say, you're going to use your phone. You have one. I know you do. Everyone does. And it's very, very easy with the phone to go live on Facebook. Okay. And here's what you're going to do. I'm going to show you. Are you a painter or a photographer?
Sorry?
Are you a painter or a photographer?
A painter.
Okay. So presumably you have some originals. And so we're going to grab our phone. We're going to go live on Facebook. And you're going to be talking to your friends on Facebook, but this is okay. I sort of am breaking my rule a little bit, because it's supposed to be sell art to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends. But you're going to do something like this. You're going to turn on, you're going to be like, hey guys, it's Kate. And, I've been thinking a long time about launching my art career, and I've just never gotten around to it. So I'm doing an early test on Facebook, and I've got 10 different originals that I'm going to show, and I'm trying to sell them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a recommended price, but no reasonable offer is going to be refused. You can send me a message on Messenger. You can email me. You can leave me a comment on Facebook. I'm going to hold each piece individually. I'm going to talk about my inspiration for it. I'm going to say it's an original. It's ready to hang. I'm going to say what the size is. I'm going to say that's number 1. If anyone's interested, send me a message. 1 down. Next one up. Gallery canvas. You know, I painted such and such here. I sat on this beach for 4 hours drinking Mai Tais until this sun came down. You know, feel sorry for me. It was a terrible day. But talk about whatever the inspiration for the piece was. Let people know that you're selling it and say, guys, I really want to launch my art business. So any and all feedback is appreciated, and go through it like that and see what happens. And I've had people come on this very call, say, okay, I'm going to go and do it. And they've come back a week later and they said, I did it. It totally worked. I sold $1,000 worth of art last weekend. Thank you. And I'm ready to go, right? And, you know, that might be the case. If it's total crickets, then that's sort of a different story. What happens is that you'll go live on Facebook. Once it's done, the video will stay on your Facebook page. All of your friends are awesome and they love you, so they're all going to comment amazing, which is great, but that'll make the video show for more and more people. But we want to see if people write you and say, okay, Kate, I want that one, you know, let me make you an offer. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow, right? Like tomorrow, get it done. How many originals do you have ready to go?
I have about 12 or 15, but some they're not ready to sell because some are just on canvas, straight on canvas, with not stretched canvas, just canvas. So I'd have to have them printed or stretched or something.
Right. You can still show those too as a work in progress though, and just say, I'll get them stretched and I'll get them shipped. You know, make me an offer, see what happens. Or you can say like, you know, you can even, another spin on it is like, you know, the basement sale, like the clearing out the old inventory sale, right? Like Picasso famously was interviewed by this guy who's like a Hungarian artist or something like that. And he asked Picasso for advice on selling his drawings. And Picasso goes, early on, my originals did not command, or you said my drawings did not command high prices, but you know what? They always moved. Your artwork needs to get out in the world. And the larger point is you got to see if it can sell. If it can sell, you can build on that. If it doesn't, then you have other issues.
I was thinking of getting them put onto stretched canvas and then trying to sell them.
Yeah, you could do that too. I mean, it's not going to be that much, not that much just to get them stretched, right? Don't do anything else and just get them stretched. You just need them on stretcher bars, right?
Yeah, I do. But also, so when I upload it onto anything, do I scan it or do I photograph it?
So what we'll do is I'm going to send you, April's going to put the link in the chat right now, but this is what I'm talking about with like the cool education thing we have going on with our customers. We have one guy that his job for 30 years was just photographing art for reproduction. And so he wrote an article on how to do it from everything from your iPhone to a camera to getting it drum scanned and everything in between. I'm going to put the link in the chat. And don't worry, you don't have to write it down if somebody else wants it, because we'll email all this stuff to you after the fact too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Okay, so that's in the chat now. What else? Do you have examples of websites, people? Okay, it sounds like you got that. And Carolyn, now, do you offer help for writing intros? I covered that. This is an interesting question, Waylon. I'm going to unmute you, Waylon. I think you had an earlier question too. Where is Waylon? Let me find him. I got to take my own medicine there and search. Waylon, are you there? I'm unmuting you. You'll have to hit the mic icon in the bottom left-hand corner, Waylon, so you can. I'll tell you when you get it. Yep, gotcha. Okay. You had a couple questions. Just start with whatever one you want to start with.
Well, how do you go ahead? How do you get a large painting scanned in so you can use it as a print?
Yeah, so there's two ways. One, you can send it out to get drum scanned. If it's too big for a drum scanner, then that doesn't work. You have somebody professionally shoot it, and there's people that can come to your house. You can do it yourself. It really just depends. There's a couple of different ways to do it too. One of the things that I like doing, and again, I'm the crazy marketing guy, so take it with a grain of salt. If I was just getting started, I would take photos of all my work with an iPhone. I would put all of them up in the store. I would start selling them. The minute I got the first order, I would be like, Waylon, thank you so much for your order. One thing, I'm actually in the process of getting everything rephotographed. It's going to be a much higher quality print. If you would consider waiting for just a couple of weeks, I can get you a much higher quality print. Is that okay? To which Waylon says, no, that's not okay. I want it right now. I'll say, okay, fine, Waylon, I'll give you 10% off. To which I'll say, okay. Then I'll run out, go get it photographed, get it printed, and then ship it to him, right? So get the order first, which is the hardest thing to do, and worry about the photography later. But that being said, that same article that we're sending to Kate it will send to you too, and you can read through that.
The other thing is, when I was looking at some of the websites, it seems like a lot of people were just focusing on the prints and the tote bags and all this other stuff. How much of the original artwork are you selling or people selling?
Massive amount of everything in between, and everyone does it a little bit differently, right? Like there's some people that just sell originals. There's some people that 90% of their business is just commissions, limited edition commissions that they open up like 4 times a year. We have some that just sell prints and don't sell any originals or commissions at all, and everything in between. So you can sell any and all of it. It really just varies from customer to customer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you explain, are you still there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you explain a little bit about your pricing structure on your end?
Yeah, absolutely. And then Robin, I see your question in the chat. I'll get it too. So we are like a website company. Like everyone else, there's a monthly fee to use the website, right? So we're no different in that capacity. What's different is, in what I said at the top of my video in the intro is, if we don't have successful customers, we're going to go out of business. And we grappled with, okay, well, we're starting with website software, so we just do what everyone else does. Here's a 30-day free trial, and here's the monthly fee. And the problem with that is, what do you see most artists and photographers doing? They're on one website for a little while, and then they don't do any marketing, and they're like frustrated with the sales. And then they move to another website, and they don't do any marketing, and they're frustrated with the sales. And then they move to an online marketplace, and they upload all their images, and they don't get any of the action they want, and they get frustrated, and they move to another one. You guys don't have a website problem. Every person on this Zoom has a marketing problem. We need to solve that. We realize we needed to solve that. So pricing. Yes, we charge a monthly fee like every other website company, but to solve the marketing problem, we essentially built this art business university, everything that I talked about. You'd pay a one-time tuition fee to get into it. Once you pay it, you get the teaching for life. And so the minimum plan to get in is, I believe, $999 gets you in, the tuition fee, and then the monthly fee, I think, for the software on the low plan is $39 or $49. I'm not 100% sure on that. You'd have to request a demo to find out.
So is the website, is that like an a la carte thing?
What do you,
is that on top of it?
To an extent. There's I think there's 3 different levels, and it's different bells and whistles, but you can upgrade and downgrade at any point in time. But yeah, that's it. There's other than that, there's no substantive changes, and no matter what, once you pay the marketing fee, you get all of it for life. It's done. It's a one-time thing. And what that goes to pay for is literally my whole staff that teaches you week in, week out, literally for the rest of your career on how to sell art and photography online. So we found literally that without that, no one works on their marketing. No one does it consistently. No one knows what to do. They go and chase shiny objects. So, I mean, technically it's our secret sauce. Like the websites are good and the websites are awesome, but for 99% of you on this call, if I was the genie in the lamp and I just popped out and I said, you've got one wish. And you said, hey, I want my new website set up wherever it is. I'll do it for you. And it's done. It's not going to make any change to your business because you don't have a website problem. You guys have an attention problem. You have a marketing problem. You have your website over here with nobody coming to it versus your website over here, from the busted 1982 Honda Accord to the 2021 Ferrari 550 Maranello. It doesn't make any difference if you don't have people coming to the website, right? You just have a Ferrari. It's a lawn ornament over here. So you need help with the marketing, and that's
so walk me through the process. If I say, let's go ahead, here's $1,000. What's the next step?
Build your website. As soon as your website's up, we usually get people live in 14 days or less, depending if you have any technical acumen. Like if you're brand new to computers, it's going to take a little bit longer than 14 days, more than likely. Once your website's up, you essentially enroll in the university. We have like a launched playbook with some little hacks and tricks about how you go about announcing your new website and this and that. From there, you're right into class, active marketing, and that will just never stop. Week in, week out, what to do 365 days a year. We teach you, we have the online education, and then we get together multiple times a week to talk about it and go over it, get your questions answered and such.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you want to find out more, we do the demo process because it takes about an hour to go through everything. So it's way more than the scope of what I can do on this call. And what happens is you request a demo, and someone from our outreach team calls you. They get to know you. They find out what you're doing. You can ask them every question about price and plans and everything else. You like what you hear. They schedule the full demo, and it like goes an hour and everything else. All right, Robin, where are you? I want to talk to you. I got to find Robin in here. Robin. Okay, gotcha. I just hit unmute. Robin, you'll have to hit the mic in the lower left.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Hey.
So you went big. What is it on, by the way? Is it WordPress or is it custom or is it something else?
On Squarespace 7.1.
It's on Squarespace 7.1. Awesome. Yeah. So it puts you in a weird spot, right? Because one, you just spent so much time, energy, and effort on this thing. Doggone it. You like the way it looks, and you're probably, very pleased with it, right?
I am.
I know. Trust me, I know. So could you technically just pay, like, let's say you wanted to sign up. Could you technically just take advantage of the marketing and keep your website? Absolutely, you could do it. Some people do that. It's not the majority by any stretch, but every once in a while it happens. Could you, and these are all the options, so we'll talk about it afterwards. Could you put the art storefronts install on, and let's say your website is robindavisonart.com. You could set up a subdomain that is store robindavisonart.com. Put your art storefronts install there because you're paying for it, and use it when you see fit, right? You can drive all the traffic to your Squarespace site and use it when you see fit. The problem is if you do this, and trust me, I know you just built this thing, blood, sweat, tears, everything, you love it, is the marketing is so deeply embedded into our software. It's through every single solitary part of it. And I'm going to give you a 4-instance story. We have hundreds of features that are sort of like this. We don't publish all of them, but I'm going to tell you an example. One of the features we have is called Art Buyer AI. Fancy name, yeah, sure, great, we're good at branding. But it's just a script. It is a script that keeps an eye on your visitors. The way I like to think of it is Robin's store is actually the Apple store, and Art Buyer AI is a video camera in the upper right-hand corner of the Apple store. And let's say Patrick, I'm walking into Robin's store, and I pick up the iPhone. I look at the iPhone. I play with it for a second. I set it down. Then I go and I pick up the iPad. I look at the iPad for a few seconds, play with it, set it down. Then I go and pick up a MacBook Air, look at it, play with it a little bit, set it down. Then I grab the iPhone, I buy it, and I leave. Instantaneously, our store, your software, does a pop-up in your back end, and it says, Robin, Patrick, a first-time customer, just came into your store and bought the iPhone 12 Max. He also looked at the iPad and the MacBook Air. Here's the email we think you should send to him immediately. And the email pops up, and it's pre-populated with the following text. It says, hey, Patrick, it's Robin. I just wanted to thank you so much for your order and for shopping with me. I cannot wait to ship you your new iPhone. I can't help but notice that you also looked at the iPad and also looked at the MacBook Air. I just want to let you know that I have a special discount for first-time customers in which you can bundle items. So if you were still interested in those two items, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. If not, thank you so much for your business, and I can't wait to hear how you like the piece. You can hit send or you can edit it. So we've got a bunch of different features like that you're just not going to get in Squarespace that are unique to how art and photography is sold. So could you come on and hang on to that website and not worry about, the art storefront site and learn some of the marketing? Yes. Will you eventually be pulled like a magnet away from the old one? You would. So I know that's frustrating, but yeah, that's my story.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. The larger question too, though, Robin, is you got to, give it a shot, right? Like if the Squarespace site might work for you. If it works and it's moving the product and the way you want to do it, there's no reason to come over, right? Like you've got it. But if you're struggling selling and not moving units, then the website's not the issue. It's hard though when you go through the whole blood, sweat, and tears of building something like that. I've done it so many times myself in my career, so I know where you're at. Ooh, Rockley, I like this one. I'm going to do some show and tell on this one, but I want you to, where's Rockley? Rockley, I'm going to unmute you, bottom left-hand corner. Bottom left-hand corner of the Zoom window is the thing. Yeah, sounds like I got you. Yeah. So wait, is all of this work yours or is it somebody else's?
The collection is mine. I inherited it. My stepmother was a well-known artist.
Got it. And is your plan just to blow it all out and be done with the business, or is your plan to make a go of the business and keeping her name going and selling prints and the like?
I'm leaning towards selling prints. I'm not trying to do a full-time business, so I am retired, trying to enjoy that. But I'm now kind of liquidating a lot of areas. So I'm open to selling a lot of the originals, but I want to try the prints first. So I was thinking price the prints very competitively, but price the originals high to set the bar. And because I'm not anxious to sell them, I love the work. It's been all over my house for years.
Yeah.
And but I'm downsizing.
Yep. I totally understand that. I don't think we're the right fit for you. And here's why I would say it. You know, the hardest thing to do is build a business, and the hardest thing to do is build a business for the first couple of years. If you don't have the commitment and the desire to do that, which it doesn't sound like you do because you're retired, you're really just looking to move some work and move some product, right? Now, if I looked at my stepmom and she had like an incredible name and she had some following built in and a huge list that I could market, that would be different. But my guess is you don't have that. If you don't have that, you can't phone it in, right? Like the first couple of years to generate enough eyeballs and enough traffic to your stepmother's work is the hardest part, right? And it's grinding and you have to work on the marketing tasks and everything else. Once you get there, every year you grow the business, every year things become easier, and you keep raising the prices on the originals and you would be moving the prints, but you got to make the commitment to do that. And if you're retired and enjoying life, it sounds like you're not going to want to do that. And if you know that ahead of time, it's better just to not do it. And instead I could give you some advice on how to have like a basement sale, a blowout sale. There's something about basement sale, blowout sale, regardless of what you charge for the prices, that just triggers human emotion. Ooh, deals. I love this. Like, let me go see. And I can even send you a link to a buddy of mine. I participated running them with him digitally. Whether you did it digitally or in your local area, I think that's a way sounder prospect for you than trying to jump into a business if you don't want to like work it and build it up. And the thing would really start, let's say our art is awesome and it's totally timeless and it's totally starting to catch on. I mean, it's year like 7, 8, 9, 10 where that thing really starts humming, right? And if you don't have that commitment in you, if you don't have somebody that wants to do that work, if it's not you, then it's not the right business. It's not the right business to start. That's what I would say.
Okay. But is there, if I was trying to minimize my effort,
yes,
and willing to farm out as much as possible of that effort and say, here's a resource.
Yes.
It's nice art. I can't run out today and put a price. I'm on the East Coast. She was well known in the Northwest. So I'd be trying to target that. Online, I can target that a little bit. Locally, in my neighborhood, no.
Yeah, because they just don't know.
Pacific Northwest, landscapes, things like that. If I was willing to farm more of it out for a higher percentage of the overall revenue or something along that line, is that one way to approach it? To try to find someone that would want to take on that as an asset?
Yeah, I think, the long and the short of it is that's essentially the gallery relationship, right? Like if you can find a gallery in the Pacific Northwest and you make a longer term deal with them and go about it that way, I would do it. That's the deal really that you're looking for. And I would go exclusively for that deal and not for anything online because, her generation didn't have to digitally market in the slightest, right? And as such, it's not something that she needs to worry about doing in the slight. Like, it was just never done, so that's okay. Go to the old school work back then. Get the top galleries in Seattle or the Pacific Northwest, wherever she was, and say, here's the collection, here's what I'd like to do, and see if you can get a deal in the water. That's 100% where I would start, and it's the easiest way to do it because no one would take it on a commission-based structure otherwise. They would charge you to do all the marketing, right? But then you're throwing money again, building up an entity that you don't really want to like do a bunch of work on, right? So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I do. But I do get like a decent amount of those that exact scenario, which is so interesting. It's also a rad thing about the art business when you think about it. It's like, okay, so in Rockley's case, let's say his mother-in-law did have a large following, was really active on her marketing the entire time, and God forbid she passes away. There's now an asset. There's now an entity to pass to the next generation. And if the art is timeless and the art does sell well, like this is one of the amazing things about art. Like it can keep selling and selling and selling and selling. Like art that goes on a wall, literature is this way too. Like there are books that were written 200 years ago that are still in the top 10 in their category for Amazon bestsellers. And so I say all that to say, there are some amazing aspects about this business if you want to build the entity, the name, and then realize that like this is literally a generational asset that you could potentially be building if the name and the style is such that, you know, it's not of a certain time period and everything else. So I think all of that's awesome about it. Okay, sorry, you got me going on a tangent there. How much is the cost of building a website? Eric, I'm not sure I specifically understand your question. I'm going to unmute you too. Okay, I can't tell if your kid's waving, Elizabeth, or if that's you. I think it's just your kid waving. Yeah, I got kids waving. What's up, dude? Okay, Eric, I'm going to unmute you, and you can, this is Eric Galen. Bottom left-hand corner. Looks like you got the camera, but not the, there we go. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Yeah, art storefront charges to build a website.
For you, yeah, it's a good question. I think it's like $750 or $1,000, something like that. You're saying the option where you don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I would do is request a demo and ask them, and then between the two of us, there might be a special on something like that this month. Just stay tuned. But you didn't hear that from me. Definitely don't bring that up on the call because if it doesn't. But yeah, I would keep an eye on it. But you know, it's really funny, and I'll go on a short tangent here. I said this sort of on the call the last week, but there's this guy Clayton Christensen wrote a book, and the title of the book is like a framework, and in the title of the book is Jobs to be Done, meaning you need to think about what job that your customer is hiring you to do, the job to be done. Like for you guys as artists, what is the job to be done? Fill that hole on my wall, right? That's the job to be done. That's what you're trying to do, right? For us, I honestly think like death, taxes, and building a website. The three biggest fears. It's the three biggest fears. No one wants to do it. People hate it. Death, taxes, building the website, right? Like, you know, Robin that was on earlier, like she won't even enter into her head. She just finished that website. There's no way she's doing it again. So we've actually been like kicking around inside. They won't listen to me on it probably 100%, but I'm like, we should be the first company that builds 100% of the websites for them. Why wouldn't we be the first company that does that? Like, do you know of any other company, any other website company, period, that says we'll build the website for you? Like maybe some like weird AI bot nonsense. You couldn't do it at scale, but we could do it. Oh, well, look, Andrea says that the special was advertised on Facebook, so maybe we are doing it. I would just request a demo and talk to a rep, Eric, and they'll walk you through it. But we could definitely do it for you. That being said, though, if you have any sort of tech, and I get it, this is coming from a huge tech nerd, right? But if you have even a little bit of technical acumen, everyone associates the building of the website experience with all the other experiences they've had, right? Where you have to customize things and you have to worry about fonts and colors and this and that, all the rest of that. We don't mess around with any of that, period. It is an extremely templated site. It is minimalist for a reason. It is meant to mimic the experience you get walking into a retail art gallery. White walls, the art front and center, nothing else matters. You need a logo, an About Me section. We will take care of the FAQ. You need to upload your images, give them names, and yes, you have to pick the sizes and prices. Other than that, there's nothing to customize, period. Nothing. The only problem you have to worry about is marketing, same as everyone else. And so we do a really good job of saying, you know, everyone thinks, oh, I've got to customize this and I've got to customize that and get it to look how beautiful I want it to look. It's like, you've been doing that in your entire career. Have any of those portfolio sites sold anything for you? They never have. They never do. They're a pretty portfolio site. It's a glorified business card. Ours is a properly set up e-commerce experience. And the best thing is the guesswork is out of it. You don't have to do it. We've got it sorted. All you got to do, work on the marketing. That's it. That's what I'd say. Sort of answer the question, mostly answer the question, or you're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks, Eric. Unless you had any others. Do you have others? Okay, I think he's going somewhere else. Okay. Do we offer backlit prints? No, Andreas, we don't. But there's no reason you couldn't, right? You know, you could potentially. Well, who even sells backlit prints anyway? I'm gonna unmute you because you're on camera anyway. And you're techie finding my Facebook ads. Good work. You gotta unmute yourself, Andreas. Who sells that anyway? Is it like a box with a light behind it, and then what kind of print goes on top? the backlit ones?
Usually they're called they're like translucent acrylic prints, and then
Okay.
they come with the electronics behind that, the light and whatnot.
Mhm.
There's like I have these lava prints,
Mhm.
and I think it would just be amazing to even have that pulsate, like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to really just give the client that experience that I had when I was there photographing the tons and tons of lava that were just flowing out of the cliff.
Yeah. Where was there? Just out of curiosity, was it Hawaii?
Big Island, Hawaii,
Yeah.
right before it went and destroyed all the areas I used to swim in and
Yeah.
live, and the communes just
Yeah.
destroyed everything.
Yeah. Super sad. What I would say is don't overthink it. Go and find a vendor that's local that does this. There's got to be one, or online, whatever. Order one, show it, quote price, and see if you can sell any of them. Right? You got to test it first. But you'll find that that's my mantra with just about everything, right? Because everyone's like, oh, this would be so awesome, that would be so great. It's like, yep, print it, buy it, be able to show it, talk about it, give it a price, and see what happens, right? Like that's the ball game. You got to be able to do that. But you're techie. You've got no problems thinking this way. I could tell you're techie already. Okay, but thank you. Do you have other questions, Andreas? And then we get Stacy.
That'd be it.
Good. Thanks, you. All right, Stacy, you're up. Go ahead. Well, you know when you get the.
So my question is, you say it's up to us with the marketing. Are you saying that's our contacts through Facebook and Instagram? What are you saying with marketing?
We teach you 365 days a year what to do. How to grow emails, how to capture emails, how to run a sale, how to announce a sale, how to use a sale with Facebook and Instagram ads, how to do hand-to-hand combat during the sale, how to end a sale, how to extend a sale, how to go live on Facebook, how to go live on Facebook and Instagram, how to go live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all at the same time, like on and on. And
Yeah,
on.
so you're saying we use our customers that we already have. Are you generating more customers for us?
We don't generate any customers for you at all, but we teach you how to generate customers. So we don't catch the fish for you. We teach you to fish, I guess would be the.
So are we on like a platform where I'm just trying to figure out a little bit more about how we can get more customers.
Yes,
that's what you're saying.
Yes.
You teach us through that.
Yes, we teach you all year long. And trust me, I get the frustration. You're like, wait a minute, this is absolutely the hardest part of the whole thing. Trust me, we know. We teach you. We've got a whole bunch of different ways to do every single solitary aspect of it, and this is all we work on all year long. There are literally Zoom sessions like this. There's like 12 a week, but one a week that you're required to attend based on where you are at your revenue model. And week in, week out, we go over our calendar. Here's what we're doing this week. And if it's write an email, we'll give you the email templates that we like you to use, the text we like you to use. But mostly what you're asking is the lead generation piece. And we have a whole bunch of different ways that we handle this and we go about this. And all year long, we build your social sites. We build your email list. We teach you to market to that email list. Once we get you up and above $2,000 of sales directly from your website, we encourage you at that juncture to get into Facebook and Instagram ads. We teach you how to run the Facebook and Instagram ads. It never stops. It never stops. Every single solitary person, okay, you, all the way up to the people that are well over 7 figures a year. There's not that many of them, but there's a couple. But the ones that are, well into 6 figures, they all have a marketing problem too. They all need to get better at their marketing. They all want to grow the bottom line, right? So we teach you all three. There's only 3 ways to grow a business, right? There's only 3 ways to grow a business. 1, acquire new customers. That's the one everybody focuses on. New. Get new people in the door. The second is get more revenue out of the customers at the time of purchase, and it's called AOV, average order value. Easiest way to think about this is you used to go into McDonald's and you'd order a burger. Somebody at McDonald's figured out to ask, do you want fries with that? So a $5 purchase went to $7.50. Stretched out over the year, it's a big deal. The third one is get more business out of your existing customers. And we work on all 3. We teach you how to acquire new customers. We teach you how to increase your AOV, meaning get more revenue out of the customers at the time of purchase. And we teach you how to get repeat business back in the door. So we work on all three.
Okay. That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks. Go ahead, David. You're up next.
Unmute. Hello. I have 3 quick questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first one is, I have a website and
Yep.
I use that primarily to get commissions, assignments. I do a lot of commercial work.
Okay.
I've done exhibitions with some of my other art prints and art projects, and the brick and mortar stuff works really well for me.
Okay.
Like you've said, everybody has a pretty website and it works, but I need to keep that. Hey, this is some of, I just did Timex. I just did this. I just did that.
For sure.
Because people need to see that sort of stuff when they're thinking about coming and booking me. So
Yeah.
how can I break that up so that if I do come aboard, I can have my storefront? Secondly, with the marketing that you've been talking about with Instagram and everything else, what kind of a budget are you looking at or recommending for people to spend on these Instagram and Facebook campaigns? And the third question, I forgot. So if we can just go with those two.
Two is good. Two is good. So step one is really, really easy. And we have a ton of people that are in your situation. More often than not, they're like commercial photographers, right? And so they have, an entire history of commercial gigs, social proof, the big companies, right? Like shot for this, shot for that. And so you just put it on a subdomain. So if it's David Siqueiros, it's store.davidsiqueiros.com. And that's where the store lives. And it doesn't interfere with your main site at all. And then you just link from one to the other. Boom, boom. So on a subdomain, done, solved. In terms of the marketing budget, I love this. Early on, and this is the analogy I give, and it's sort of an important one, you have to learn how to do 100 push-ups before you can spend any money on any marketing initiatives. What are the 100 push-ups? You have to be gathering emails on a regular basis and be doing all the things that is required of that, number one. Number two, you have to be emailing that list on a regular basis and getting up to that pace. That takes a while. You need to be posting on the socials regularly on a regular basis. You need to be running a sale at all the times when it's right. There's like 6 or 7 times a year. You need to understand the mechanics of how to run a sale. I went through it a few seconds ago, but how to handle every single solitary aspect of that sale. Collectively, that is doing 100 push-ups in one sitting. Once you have those marketing muscles in place, then you're ready to go into Facebook and Instagram ads. Not until, otherwise you're going to be lighting that money on fire. So early on, the only expense that you have, aside from signing up, we have some tricks that we do with print giveaways, okay? And so you're out the cost of the print giveaway and the shipping, but it is extremely minimal. What we do is, because we have a pretty decent purchasing power, we will say, okay, now's the time when we want everybody to run this technique. We will go and beat up our suppliers to give really, really cheap pricing. We'll all order at the cheap discount, and that's the ammo that we'll use. So that's it early on. And to be honest with you, wasting money on ads until you can do those 100 push-ups, lighting money on fire. You might as well go down and buy a lotto ticket with that ad money, because it's the same odds as success, straight up. So, yeah.
I buy lotto tickets like at least twice a week, but yeah. I just remembered the other question too. LinkedIn is one network that you really don't talk about very much. Yep. And MailChimp is the email program that you prefer, but I've been sort of set up with Create Send, formerly known as Campaign Monitor. But it seems like a lot of these mass email companies like MailChimp and Create Send, they're sort of blacklisted, and a lot of the emails that come from them, get put into spam folders, and even they don't even make it past the ISP. If you're emailing, like gmail.com or an AOL or, an MSN, and somebody has those emails, they never really ever land in people's email boxes, which you figure out sort of like through your metrics because they were never delivered. So yeah. With Create Send, I've been with them for a long time. I've validated the domain and done all that sort of stuff. So you have less of a chance of doing that. But is there something that can we use Create Send or Campaign Monitor as opposed to MailChimp?
100% you can. I mean, the only thing you would be missing out on is the integration and having it integrate automatically. But as someone that's been doing this for a long time, just food for thought, I've tried all the different ones. I've tried all the different ones with several different domains. I've tried all the different ones at the same time with the same domains. No measurable difference. No measurable difference whatsoever. Email marketing has gone sort of down the toilet over the years, and so all of them have lousy, but the reputation score of MailChimp is no better or worse than Create Send, Campaign Monitor, than Active Campaign, than Drip, than any of the rest of them. The domain is a big deal, okay? And the open history and the click-through rate history is a big deal, but it's still not what it used to be. But if take it from me, because I've done this a lot, what you're worrying about, nonsensical. Do not worry about it. Like what you're saying.
What about LinkedIn?
And I'll get to LinkedIn in a second. What you're saying, just to give you an analogy, is like you're worried about whether the club at the first tee is a Big Bertha or a Ping or a Spalding or whatever else. Like, no. worry about whether or not you can hit that ball off the tee and send it straight down the fairway. The club's not going to make a huge difference. That's number one. Number two, I like LinkedIn. I think for some people, LinkedIn works incredibly well. I really like LinkedIn's go live features and process. I also like their ads product to a certain extent. I don't think it's as valuable or efficient as Instagram. I just don't see enough artists turning it into a high ROI situation. And everything that we do in terms of marketing is ROI based, right? So, I have the benefit of 5,000 customers and seeing all their data. And so I don't see enough on LinkedIn to lead me to believe it's anything except an outlier for somebody who was a long-term real estate agent and they have a huge LinkedIn following and they're really personable and they start talking about their art and they're leveraging LinkedIn effectively. But what I see is if I know I've only got 5 hours of David's time, and I believe through the systems and tactics and data that I've seen that I think you're going to get more out of the 5 hours that you spend doing what we recommend versus LinkedIn, then I don't have any problem not talking about LinkedIn. So I don't think it's high enough ROI to do it unless you have a really good network in there. And if you do have a good network in there, then it's very easy to leverage. It's all the same content. You're just shoehorning it a little bit different for that size and posting it and doing it and going live and all the rest. So, yeah.
And sort of what Stacy was saying about looking for new customers, I know where she was going. She was trying to wonder if like, hey, if we come aboard with Art Storefronts, do you guys have like a fan base that we can tap into? But realistically, you want us to tap into our own social networks that are already there. Sort of like,
it's less about tapping in than you just need to learn how to market, right? Like what Stacy was, perhaps underpinning, and I don't necessarily want to pick on Stacy. I think this is like a industry wide, but everybody's heard about this list. This mythological list. If I could just get access to it, it has all the high net worth buyers on it. And if I could just email that list, I'd have a huge business. That list is like Bigfoot. Everybody's heard about him. No one's ever seen him. It's nonsense, right? And there's no, what we're talking about is a premise that just doesn't exist, which is there's some easy way where you can just upload your stuff or send your stuff. And like a light switch, you're just making sales and you're just creating and not having to do any work. And it's nonsense. The only way to build a business is do the work, right? I wish there was a shortcut. There's not. You have to do the work. And we know it goes back to why we exist. Like we are a marketing company masquerading as a software company.
Right.
Because that's the only way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's taking our friends and family and converting them into customers and making sales to them. And then they refer, hey, I just bought this from Dave. Maybe you should, something for your house could be kind of nice like that.
Yes, but because you tell me if I'm on the right track with this, but my brother, my youngest brother, I'm the oldest of four, one girl in there, but my youngest brother's first job out of college was, I can't remember the name of the insurance company, but the way that they brought you into this insurance company was they literally sat you down with the junior guy and the senior guy were like, you're going to call every one of your friends and family and find out who needs life insurance. So
exactly.
We are not that. We are not that in the slightest.
Okay.
We teach you how to market like you would in normal business. It's got nothing to do with leveraging your friends and family in the slightest. In fact, we steer you away from that. It is literally, here is how you digital market effectively in today's world, and we teach that all year long. So yeah, it's the only thing that works, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I mean, I felt mortified because just a quick aside, before my brother did it. Okay, my brother is 8 years younger than me, 10 years younger, eight years younger than me, and one of my friends in my peer group, he's still at this company. He did it, and oh my gosh, all of us would it was terrible. At the point in time when he did it, we would all sit there and get together and be like, oh my God, did you hear who he called this time? Do you hear who he called this time? Oh, it's the worst. So no, we're not like that. It's the worst. It's the worst model. Angie's saying, do we do more than just online marketing? Is there something other than online marketing, Angie? I mean, we believe that to build an art business in today's day and age, it's not online marketing. It's getting attention, right? Like we live in the attention economy. The commodity in today's market is attention. Sadly, that's why the Kardashians are some of the most powerful people in the entire world. The Kardashians could decide tomorrow that they're going to be artists and paint, and they would probably sell $35 million worth of art in the first year. Why? Because with one Instagram post, they have access to hundreds of millions of eyeballs. Do you know how hard that is to do? When information is abundant, the world we live in now, attention is the scarce resource. And so if you guys want to make it, you want to grow a viable career, you have to get attention, okay? In an offline world, you could get attention by paying the booth fees and going to shows and fairs and showing your art there, right? They brought attention, you paid to get it. They would walk into your booth, you could sell art, you could have a nice career doing that. In today's day and age, when that's not a viable option, when there's not as many galleries, you need to get attention somehow. So how are you going to do it other than online marketing? You know, you could bang the phone banks and call people and try to get it that way, but not efficient, not effective. So yes, you need to learn how to market yourself. Every business needs to do marketing, and we believe in today's day and age, the best way to make it as an artist or photographer is to sell direct to your customers. In order to do that, you're going to need to be able to attract their attention. That's where marketing comes in. So I don't know of any other viable path to do it in today's day and age. You know, I had a call with a lady, like, this must have been like 2 weeks ago now. Wonderful lady, lives in northern Arkansas, kind of like the Four Corners area, and she's struggling with the technical aspects of building the site and like taking on these marketing challenges and everything else. And I sort of like felt like talking to my mom. It was like talking to my mom and like teaching my mom how to do, you know, you have to learn how to drive a website program, and you have to learn how to post things to Facebook and to Instagram and to send emails. And I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to fight through and learn this. And I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, is this folly that I'm trying to teach her to do this? And she's like, no, I don't ever want to go to the fairs and shows again. I'm just not going to do it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of sitting on my feet for 8 hours. Well, okay, then I was like, you know what? You need to learn to market, because there's nothing else that's going to work. Where else do you go? If we're in a year, the next year, where even if the fairs and shows and all of that does open back up, what percentage of people are actually going to be attending them? 10%, 20%, 30% of what they were at peak, 40% in some instances. That's not enough to build a big business. The galleries, the ones that emerge out of this, are going to have the pick of the litter of any artist that they want. And as a result of that, they're going to charge more and more aggressive splits. And let me tell you, you can't make it long-term as an artist if you don't retain your collector information. Does not work. Not going to happen. What else are you going to do? Buy a house on a main thoroughfare in your town so you could open the garage and have all your art on the driveway? It's not a bad idea. It's a decent little hack. The guy around the corner does it from me. I still haven't stopped because I don't care for his work, but I wouldn't tell him that. But look, you need some way of getting attention, right? And, you know, there's a lot of upsides. It's amazing when you get to keep all the data on your customers, because you guys, it turns out, don't seem to have midlife crises. You don't start work as a tax accountant and decide at 38 that you've had it and you go and start doing construction. You're creatives. You're stuck being this for the way God made you this way, or whoever you believe in made you this way. And that's what you're going to be for the rest of your life. And so when you start taking in perspective, okay, for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, I'm going to be selling this. You start getting the perspective of how long things take. It actually makes sense for me to work on my marketing and build a list that I can sell to year after year after year. Like, I've been in business now, and I got this book. This is a great book. It really annoys me that he doesn't sell it on Amazon so you could just go and get it. But it's by Weiland, the whale guy, right? Most people are saying he's the biggest selling artist in the United States right now as it stands. Don't be a starving artist. But one of the things he talks about in this book is how important his collectors are to him. And he defines a collector that someone over the course of a lifetime buys in upwards of 7 pieces of his art, right? And I see that. I see that now with some of our customers because I've been doing it for long enough. And it's like year after year after year, they keep getting better and better and better, and they keep cultivating this list of collectors. And it's not big. Like, you could have 10,000 Instagram followers or 10,000 email followers, and your list of collectors is 17 people or 12 people or 6 people, right? But the prices keep going up, and the collectors keep buying, and you keep expanding that circle out as you go. The collectors are the lifeblood of the business. Some of these people will buy 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 pieces of your art over the years. We'll put a link to it, but it's Weiland, the whale artist guy. Big deal. You've seen him before. He does all the whale This guy. He's a big deal. It's a really good book. And it's basically just echoing a lot of the stuff that I'm saying, but he has way more credibility than I do. Let's be honest. Best-selling author, artist selling in the United States. So definitely a good book to get, though. Definitely a good one to look at. Adrian's asking me on the socials, would you say Instagram is more effective than Facebook? No, not necessarily. One works sometimes great for some artists. The other one works great for others. Depends on how good you are storytelling. Some are really good storytelling in one than the other. So it kind of just goes both ways. Early on, you don't know what you don't know, Adrian. You just start marketing and you stay at it. You keep your head down for like a year. After that, we'll go ahead and we'll look at the data and we'll see what it looks like. And yeah, Andreas, NFTs, maybe, maybe some time from now, like NFTs have a large promise, but all they do is introduce about 27 additional layers of friction into the art buying process. So until everyone starts figuring out how to do crypto aside from crypto crazies, then NFTs are just a shiny object right now. Which is not to say we're not testing it. We took a couple of the CEO and I are both super into crypto, longtime holders, traders, and we have a listing up right now on one of them. A couple of our customers have listings up, but it's just unless you're deeply embedded in the crypto world and you're one of those tradable assets, NFTs are non-fungible tokens. I know. You guys are looking at me like I'm crazy. You're gonna hear about more and more and more of it. But a guy named Beeple last week had a sale in his backyard and sold $3.5 million worth of art in this process, in which your art and the rights to the art get encoded in the blockchain. Okay. And that thing is a contract essentially. So you can say, let's say Andreas sells me his lava box. It's an actual digital image and he encodes it on the blockchain. He writes into this token, which I purchased from him. Every time this token is bought or sold, I get 10% of the price. The only way that the asset is bought or sold is on the blockchain. And so what's happening is in this crypto world, and it's not just artists that are doing it, expand the artists to authors, photographers, musicians, digital artists of every capacity. They are putting these things up as a way to like jump all of the gatekeepers, okay? And they're selling the asset as a token on the blockchain. Someone can buy it. I get the rights to it. I have that in perpetuity. You always know who owns it because the blockchain is what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent. You know who owns every single solitary asset, and you can write in rules. But it's like for collectibles. People are speculating on them like everything else. It's a shiny object for now, unless you're deeply embedded in that world. But it has incredible promise, for sure, in obliterating gatekeepers. But we're all about obliterating gatekeepers. That's our jam too. So, okay. Any other questions? Any other finals? Throw them in the chat. Hands up. Otherwise, great session for a Friday. I loved a bunch of the questions. Great questions today. Really enjoyed that. We are indeed having a sale. Oh, April told me about what the sale was. Let me tell you there's a sale. Hold on. 6 extra free months added to any annual plan, which is pretty awesome. So what is that like? I don't know what kind of value that is. I should know what kind of value that is. But we are having a sale now. There it is. Thank you, April. So if you request a demo, our team can tell you more about that. And yes, Andreas, we have referral programs, of course. I think it's $350 or something like that on a sign up. Or yeah, you can be free months or you can just get paid cash, either or. But of course we do the referral. We love doing that. Elizabeth, what did you want me to repeat? The sale or what? Yeah, the sale. So it's 6 extra free months added to any annual plan. Every plan's an annual plan, I think. I don't know. Like I can't even keep it straight what they do over there in the sales department. So I just don't even say anything about it rather than don't get in trouble because I'll mix it up. But literally, you request a demo. It's a 5 to 7 minute call. If you don't want them to ever call you again, they're not the pushy types like that. You're not getting freaking text messages in perpetuity. Like the world that we live in. Yes, Andreas, you do get a URL. Absolutely. Or they can just mention your name when they sign up. Anything in between. The cookie's pretty cool, but it's never complete because they don't ever follow the doggone link. That's the problem with those affiliate links. They'll be like, oh yeah, great, and then they'll click somewhere else and they'll click back, and then it's like, no, just have them tell the rep, like, this is my guy. That's what I would say. But we do have the links. The links work if they actually click them. All right, guys, I think we leave it there. Great session. I enjoyed it. Everybody, wonderful weekends. Thanks for hanging out. That was a lot of fun. We have these things Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you feel like you didn't get it or questions come up over the weekend, you can always email me too. I think you guys have my email, and then we will send you a follow-up email with this whole thing in case you need to watch any part of it again, and then all the links that we mentioned for this, that, and the other that'll be in there too. So thank you guys. Have a great weekend, and hope to see you guys again. See you later now.